Welcome, finally, to another edition of the Towson Tigers Football Coaches Show. It has been a very, very long time, sir, that you and I have had a chance to think about a football game or talk about a football game. I'm sure you've been thinking about a football game for 18 months now.
Yeah, something like that. I've been thinking about a football game since the Elon game. And walking out of that press conference, Tom crying, hugging me, and like, I'd go to war with that kid anytime. I'm sad I can't anymore. But it's a new day. It's a little bit of a new team with a whole lot of old team that are much older. But let's all just breathe a big sigh of relief and smile. And football season, real football season, is upon us once again.
All right, well, let's talk about that right off the bat. You have your oldest football team ever, because this season there are older college football players playing than ever before, unless somebody came out of the Army and decided to go back to college, or unless you went on a mission for BYU. But what kind of challenges does that present, or is it easier to have guys that are 24, 25 years old?
In the short term, it's a little bit easier because these guys have already been around the block. They know what to expect. They know how the game is played. They know how we practice. They know how to train, and they're smarter. Like they're old. They're a year older. Imagine the differences that we all had between the ages of, say, 18 and 23. That's like a decade in real life, in experience and wisdom. So having these guys a little bit top. Matter of fact, there's something that just came out today from the National Football Foundation that at the FCS level, we probably have the most seniors of any team in America, which is great. COVID presented this. It's awful hard to keep up with what class they're in. We have guys that do really well academically, and they're seniors within 3 years academically, but then there's playing seniors. And I could COVID seniors, redshirt seniors, COVID redshirt seniors, COVID redshirt seniors who already had an injury. Like if Shane Simpson did not go to Virginia, I would have been coaching him, I believe, for the 7th or maybe the 8th year. And that would have been realistic. So once all these guys graduate, it's going to be a mess. Like it really is. It's going to be a mess. But it's a happy mess right now. We're just playing football.
Okay, so you had the challenge of having spring ball after not having played for a year. You have a lot of transfers. You have a lot of guys back. How do you figure out what you've got to do during spring ball and during summer camp, as opposed to years prior, where maybe you had a more stable group that you knew who was going to be there from the end of the season moving into a new season?
I can tell you that, you throw COVID in the mix and how that changed everybody's rosters across America. There's no head coach's manual for this. There is no experience to draw from in this. Like, God forbid anything bad happens in the world in the future. When I'm really, really old, people are going to call me and go, hey, what did you do? How did you? Because we are clearly the first ones through the wall in trying to deal with this. So we got into spring. It was knock the rust off. Commit to knocking the rust off and trying to play football again. It's everybody compares all the stuff to professional athletes who are highly skilled and topped out physically in their profession. Kids aren't like that. You can't just walk away from a sport for a year and then expect to all of a sudden be good again. And guys found that out really fast. There's a big difference between working out on your own and going to play a team sport against another team sport kind of thing. And it was a challenge, truly was. Spring was sloppy. It was great effort, but it was sloppy because you're taking a bunch of guys that didn't play football for a year. They didn't. They were sitting on their couches, watching video screens, taking Zoom classes, trying to get a workout in where they would let you. But there's no training that substitute a team game. And guys found out that no matter how hard they trained, when they went and actually played the game, it took a major toll on their body. It's the best way to stay in shape is to never get out of it. Football is its own type of shape. So that was a massive challenge. And it was a massive challenge teaching. We have new guys that came in January. We have new guys that came in the summer, along with all of our old guys. So you're breaking those down between which ones actually had spring experience and know what we're doing. The good thing was we were here all summer. We were here June. We were here in July together. And because we We were able to have some meetings and get a little farther ahead mentally than we ever did. And the goal was to take however rusty we were and beat it off in the spring, show up for August and hit the ground running, not to try to play catch up. And the kids did great coach did a great job in June and July. And we really did. We hit the ground running. I'd say we started camp behind where we would normally be. But because of our experience, we probably end up a little bit ahead of them when we finished.
All right, now the meat and potatoes time. Here we go.
Okay.
Preliminaries out of the way. Who's your quarterback?
We've been having this conversation for years.
Well, we didn't have it 2 years ago. We knew who the quarterback was.
Well, you didn't ask me. Every time you ask, the guy who takes the snaps. He's the guy that calls the plays on the field.
Going to be like that, are you?
I am. You guys want to figure out who it is? Come buy season tickets.
All right, we'll move away from that then. You have talked
Let me go back.
Okay,
I won't
all right.
officially name the starter, and anybody with a brain could probably figure it out. But in truth, I was very, very disappointed with where we were at the quarterback position coming out of the spring. It was poor, it was sloppy, it was inefficient. We lacked leadership skills and the ability to run the other 10 guys and run an offense well. But with the addition of Chris Ferguson and the kids drawing from his experience, that he's played so many college football games, had success, been a winner in high school. That mentality, his mentality, really rubbed off in the room, and everybody's game got better. So while I was very disappointed in the spring, I couldn't be more pleased with the fall or summer.
And we'll take that information and run with it. But anyway, you have talked extensively in interviews over the last month about how deep your defensive line is. Would you say that you have more talent there than you've ever had?
I'd have a whole lot of disgruntled alums if I said that. And
I mean, as a whole,
we probably have the most talent in our depth up front defensively. And I'll say the front seven than we've had since I've been here. And then we've had great individuals and guys that were just studs and good lines, good backers. But to have a good guy and then behind him to have a guy who's pushing, like who's almost as good as that guy, if not maybe as good, we're going to split reps instead of just playing one guy. We're going to have the ability to be very, very fresh up front. And because we are as athletic and as deep as we are, we might be able to cause some problems on defense in ways we haven't done historically here. I'm really, really glad with our growth. Schematically, we know what we're doing. We have a bunch of older guys who know how to play the game, and they like playing with each other. And you take all that together and add depth we could be very, very good on defense this year. And
then on the back end, your safeties are both coming back. So you've got experience there. You don't have to worry about them not knowing what they're doing.
And you take Christian Dixon and Ryan Kearney in the middle with a couple new additions, by the way, that running the show on both ends. I think we can be very good on defense this year. I'll just say that.
On the offensive side, I know Gordy Combs always talks about how the offensive line is a coach's security blanket. You've got a lot of experience coming back on your offensive line, and it doesn't make any difference who the quarterback is or who the running backs are, who the wide receivers are. If the offensive line's not doing their job, you could have Johnny Unitas, Walter Payton, and Jerry Rice out there. It ain't going to make a difference.
This is true. Now, we actually had a conversation as a team after the last scrimmage about how talented and veteran we are on both sides of the ball up front, and that's where great teams stem from. It's not about a super quarterback, although you got to have good quarterback play. But if you want to really make a run, you want to win a championship, you need great line play on both sides of the ball. And there aren't a whole lot of great linemen who are babies. They usually have to grow into that role at the college level. The speed, the strength, how many guys, how big the guy is across from you. You don't play those guys in high school, not on the regular. And here you do it against a scout team. So it takes those guys time to grow up. But we have an older group. The number of games played between those guys is a pretty hefty number. So he said, safety blanket? Yeah, it's more like my cane. I'm getting old. I'm like, I lean on him. Aaron Gronkowski's a consummate all-league player and academic All-American. Cole Tripko's a dynasty player who plays on the good side of the ball instead of his brother. I'm like, Andrew Garnett's got more snaps in now based on having COVID and being removed. You know, he only played a couple years of high school football. I mean, there's just so many of them, and they can all play multiple positions because of the circumstances we've been in. They speak the language of linemen very clearly and very cleanly with each other because they've been doing it for so long. It certainly bodes well for what we should be able to do.
All right. The brief time we have left, Morgan on Saturday. I know you want this game to be played every year. It looks like it's going to be played every year for the foreseeable future. You have two teams that did not play last year. How difficult is that for you to scout and for them to scout? Difficult.
You know, they've had changeover in their staff, which means there's usually changeover in scheme, but there's no hint or telling whatever that is. They have the home field advantage again. I would like to play this game over here once. That would be fun. But, you know, I've also said that I would like this game to be so big that it can't be played here and it can't be played there. And it should be played downtown and the entire city should be there. I think that's where this rivalry should go. As far as, you know, who they are and who we are, there's a whole bunch of people in the stands, a whole bunch of people on the other side, on each side of the ball and on the sidelines that are learning as we go, because this one's you're kind of going in blind. You're removed 2 years. You have no clues, not really, other than if you're guessing how they align from a depth chart that they hand out. So when you get in circumstances and situations like that, you do your best if you just make it about us. Don't make it about who we're playing. Doesn't matter what they do. We just need to take care of our job. We take care of our job. We should take care of business.
How do you scheme?
Very carefully. No, you plan. Are they an odd front team? Are they even front team? Are they a field defense? Are they a boundary defense? Are they a zone team? Are they a man team? And all those little intricacies we have to plan for. It's very challenging. It's much more different than when you've seen film on a team for 4 weeks in a row and you know what their base is, you know who their personnel are. We have names of people that are going to line up. That's about it. So we'll see.
All right, Coach. Well, we'll do it again next week when we'll talk about your first conference game. But I know you and I will both be very, very happy on Saturday afternoon when that whistle goes off and the ball goes into the air.
We will. Thank God we're playing football again. I'll just be a lot happier if we got one more point in our column than they do.
All right, Coach. Thank you. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, Spiro.